How are you doing today?
I'm doing wonderful.
That's awesome. I'm glad to have you back. Nice to see you again.
Good to see you.
So for everyone that is joining us, please, like I said, drop your name, what markets you serve, in the chat, maybe like a fun fact about yourself. We're gonna go ahead and get started. So, for anyone that was not here, for the last one of these rooms that we did, Tony has a fantastic perspective on using psychology to build instant rapport and being able to deal with any type of client from any type of background who exhibits any type of behavior. It's just really all a psychology game. And so that room did so incredibly well that we decided to continue the series and break down each of these psychological personas one by one, see what their strengths and weaknesses are, and how the best way to kind of navigate conversations with this type of persona will be handled, especially within the realm of real estate. And so I'm very excited to have you all here today, and I'm very excited for you guys to hear more from Tony. He's a fantastic speaker, and we always love having him here with us in rooms. So with that being said, Tony, feel free to take it away.
Awesome. Well, thank you. Thank you so much. So, just to kind of recap, because we started the series last week or last month, and basically it's the study of behavior characteristics, the study of the psychology of character styles or behaviors, and in that we learned that there's four basic styles that we all possess, and those styles are kind of shaped and molded. You're kind of born with it, but then they're kind of shaped and molded by your background, your education, your family history, environment. Kind of molds who you are, and how you perceive the world and how you see other people. So there's four basic styles or four basics, and you have the driver, the analytical, the amiable, and the expressive, um, are the four basic styles. Now, we all possess one of those as our primary, and then we have a second style that's kind of our secondary, and that's kind of where the molding comes in, where our experience and stuff kind of, mold us into kind of incorporate other styles as our secondary, but we always are, uh, to our primary. Um, we learned that it's easy to build instant rapport with people who are just like us, that have the same personality trait. We gave the example: you ever met anybody for the very first time, and it was like you've known them your whole life. It just was, you know, uh, instant friendship, instant rapport. You felt like that you've known that person forever. And then there's other people that you've met that's awkward. Um, so today, what we're going to talk about is the commander, or what I call him the commander because it's easier for me to remember or associate. But it's, in the books and stuff that I've read, it's called the driver. And the driver is a very assertive. Could be someone you don't like. I mean, if it's not like you, it's a very arrogant personality, a very commanding personality, and uh, kind of wants to always be in that control. So it may be, as we go through these, and I'll share with you the profile. As we go through this, you may, when you're reading it, you're going, "Oh, I don't like this person. I hate this person." But what I urge you to do is to try to relate that personality to someone that you know, and someone that you're friends with, because I have friends that are all these different personality traits, and we're really good friends. And as a matter of fact, yesterday I was working on this for my presentation to you guys, and one of my best friends calls me, and he happens to be a driver. I mean, he is the quintessential driver. And when I answered the phone, I said, "Hey, I'm doing this presentation, and I'm presenting you." And he was like, "What?" I go, "Yeah, so listen to this." And I started naming off all the things, and he is dying laughing. He goes, "Yep, that's me." So, case in point is you can be friends with these people. You just learn how to interact with them. And that's the whole purpose of this, is uh learning to kind of stay away from doing things and saying things when you're with those people, and learning what aggravates them, learning what they like. And I think in the last I said, you don't want to be a chameleon, but you don't have to let out all your crazy at once. You want to kind of mask who you are when you first meet somebody, and then little by little you can release who you really are. But the main point is to get them to start talking. The One of the refreshers, or recaps, is um, that we want to promote respect and empathy, and you want to have that. That's the kind of mindset you want to have when you first meet somebody, is have that respect and empathy. And remember that effective communication is, we must seek to understand, then to be understood. And as long as we keep those two things in check when we meet somebody new, and kind of let that person talk, let that person tell you who they are. And the more that we know about that personality trait, the better we'll be able to give a presentation to them, and give it to them in a way that they can process. If we're too fast or too slow, or um, too emotional, we can turn that other person off. So, any questions before I get started on the actual driver?
Yeah, I let everyone know. Whatever questions you have throughout this room, feel free to just drop them in the chat, and periodically we will go through and address them too. Feel free to discuss amongst yourselves too, in the chat. We always like getting new perspectives and takes on everything that Tony will be going through. So that is there. Feel free to react to anything. This is really your chance to mastermind with one another and build on this topic.
Exactly. Yeah, and I'm going over. I mean, this goes really deep. You can go really deep into this, but the most thing is to have a basic understanding, and this having the right mindset helps you in your listening skills, with each one of these people, because you're trying to figure out who they are. And as we go through these, you're going to see that we're going to give you some clues of how they're organized, how they're dressed, how their office looks, how their house looks, these are going to be little clues that tell you, okay, this is who this person is, or they tend to be that person. Okay. Um, let's see. So I will start sharing with you here. All right. So as you see, the driver commander is a very high in their assertiveness. They tell you, they're forceful, they're aggressive, they're talkative, they take charge, they're confrontational, they're in your face. They have more eye contact. Matter of fact, they make that eye contact, and they stare at you. Sometimes it's intimidating, and it's like I said before, as we go through this, you're going, I don't know if I like this person, but this is their defense mechanism. This is how they defend themselves and how they protect themselves from everybody else, right? Their probable strengths. they're decisive and overbearing. They're initiating, abrasive, forceful, impatient, assertive, blunt, competitive, demanding, goal-oriented, hasty, authoritative, dictatorial, independent, belligerent, and very organized. And here's their weaknesses. They're overbearing. And so if you look at this, it's almost the same list as we had, as their strengths, because their strengths are their weaknesses. And I can relate to that because I think some of my strengths are some of my weaknesses. So so this gives you kind of a, bird's eye view of what this person's about. And if you can start thinking in your head of friends and people that you know are like this. So their emphasis is dominance of the environment and people. They're direct and self-contained. They speak at a very fast pace. Their priority is the task. Their focus, not on the details, but on the results. This is the best analogy I've heard about this person is they don't want to feel the labor pains. They just want to see the baby. They give several, for decisions, you got to give them several options without the details. Let them make the decision. What will be done? When will it be done? Their specialty is, you want them to be in control, and that's why you want to give them options. They gain and maintain control. They depend on their competitiveness and leadership skills. Now we'll come back to this. Any questions before I move on?
Tony, I have one actually. How would you say that, or here, let me back up. What aspects of a potential client's personality do you find most intriguing when it comes to building rapport, especially for those that exhibit driver traits? And how do you kind of navigate that?
Well, I mean, the best way that I've handled it is to give that person that respect. Just give them that kind of that respect. Let them talk. Give them the floor. Don't talk over them. It's one of the I think one of their biggest pet peeves is that where they're talking, you're trying to talk over them, will just set them off completely. My youngest son is a driver. Without a doubt, is a driver, and he will get into a conversation and I'll interrupt him and it drives him nuts. He can't stand it. He has to love me. I'm his dad. So, but it just drives him nuts. We'll have arguments over that. I walked him. I go, wait a minute, you've been talking for 10 minutes. It's my turn to talk, and we'll butt heads. And that's why, because he wants to be in total control and I'm stepping on his toes. And just they like to be patted on the back. They want to know that they want you to see their accomplishments and kind of celebrate them. And the more that you celebrate them and notice what they've done and what their accomplishments are. For instance, if they have awards or a diploma or something on the wall, and you congratulate them for that and say, oh, that's a prestigious college you went to. Congratulations. I know that's really hard. I admire you for that. Those are kind of things that kind of help kind of break the ice.
Yeah, those are definitely more of like their motivating factors, things that they feel that they need from you in order to feel seen or heard or whatever the case may be.
Yeah, and this person, they want to be known to be, I'm in control. I'm the person. I'm the man. I'm I'm, excuse the language, I'm the shit, right? I'm the, and you need to know that and understand that. And, it's, but on the other side, these are people that are, once you win them over, they're by your side. They'll stand behind you. They'll protect you. They'll go to war for you, because they believe you and trust you. And one of the things you talked about um, last month is that people want to do business with people they love and they respect. And so if you win them over you win their respect, um, they'll stand by you. They'll refer you out to their people. They won't even just tell people, hey, you should use this person. They'll say, hey, don't mess around and use this person. They'll command them to use you. So they're a little difficult, but if you can win them over, they're great allies and ambassadors for your business. All right, we'll go back to the next. All right, so their irritation is wasting time, touchy-feely behavior. They hate it. They don't want none of the touchy-feely. They want results. They want action. Don't waste their time. To increase flexibility, you need to listen better and give reasons for their directive. Pace themselves to project a more relaxed image. Develop more patience, humility, and concern for the needs of others. And that's their needs. Use more caution and verbalize their reasons for the conclusion they draw. Identify better with the group they're with. Measure personal worth by their results and their track record. This is where I was saying, celebrate their accomplishments. And if you look, the theme is notice my accomplishments. Environmental clues. This is where I was saying their desk will appear busy, lots of projects and papers. The wall may contain achievements, achievement awards, planning calendars, workspaces decorated to express power, authority, and control. Workspace is functional. I remember when, in my different career before I got into real estate, I did corporate sales, and I really remember sitting in people's office where the chair that I sat in was lower than the person I was meeting with. They were sitting up high and I was sitting down low. It's a power play, and it's just how they are. So dealing with the driver, recognize and use personal needs, esteem and independence. Don't reason or argue with negative emotions. Expect early and multiple objections. They're ready. They 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 like to make you squirm. They've prepared objections in advance that they're gonna throw at you. So be prepared for those. Show appropriate firmness and conviction. Don't be, look them straight in the eye. Be confident in what you've got to offer. Show them that you know what you're doing, and you're confident and you're strong, and you can do what you say you can do. Emphasize the business orientation. Focus on the process without personal blame or challenge. Office Offer choices and problem solving. Concentrate on the task, and don't share your personal feelings. So, as we go through these series and later months, we'll get into stuff of the mirroring and the power words and stuff like that. But this is a person that you don't say, I think this might work, or I feel this is a good program. Those are the words that just will kill your presentation. You have to say, this is a proven technique. This is I've used this proven marketing strategy, and here's the results I've had before. That's how you have to present to these people. Speak directly and formally. Avoid expressing your opinions. Focus on results. No warm-ups. Get right to the point. No small talk, chit chat. Get right to the point. Don't ask about the family. Don't ask about where they're from. Get right to business. Show how you will improve present results. When their meeting has peaked, move on. Tell them what it will do and by when, or what you will do and by when you're going to do it. Give them timelines. Speak rapidly, communicate with intensity, offer several alternatives, and use business-like language. Okay, any questions on those?
One of my questions is, because they value such direct communication, what have you ever had an experience where you successfully navigated a deal with a driver personality, and that experience kind of helped you build that strong rapport going forward?
Have I had that in the past? Oh, absolutely. As a matter of fact, at first I used to be intimidated by this person because I'm not a driver. And they intimidated me. But because of that intimidation, I over prepared, right? And this person doesn't isn't wishy-washy. They'll tell you directly what they want. And if you let them have the floor, they'll tell you how to sell them. I don't know if I said this in my last one, but I had this client. I had this client back in the day that my first meeting with him, his name was Bill, and he was definitely a driver. My first meeting with him, he handed me a piece of paper, and it was the 10 Commandments of Bill, or Bill's 10 Commandments, and it gave me a list of everything that I had to do in order to do business with him. And it was: 1, don't invite me to lunch. That's my personal time. 2, I don't go to sporting events with other people. Just do what you say you're going to do. Offer me what you got. Give me the best price you can. I mean, it was just, these were Bill's rules, right? And as long as I stayed within those parameters, and he just came out and said it. I mean, it was a really quick meeting. It was, as long as you can go by my rules and follow my rules, then there's a possibility that you and I can do business. And I loved it because I knew what I had to do. I didn't have to kiss his butt. It wasn't politics. It was, get the job done and we'll do business. Here's an opportunity. Don't mess it up. And I love doing business with those people because it's just direct. You know what you got to do. Where other people, they'll tell you, oh yeah, you're the greatest in the world, and you leave the office and you never hear from them again, or you leave them and they don't do business. They buy from somebody else, and you're left wondering why. What did I do wrong? Why do they do that? They just didn't have the courage to tell you no. I'd rather you tell me, no, I've got a family member that's a realtor, or I've got a cousin that's a realtor. I really got to use them, and I would respect that. Now I might tell them, you really want your family in your business? You may not want your family in your business. This is a way for you to separate your family from your business and not let them know, because family talks. So if they would tell me, then I might have a counter for them. But I like the driver. You just got to be prepared. You just got to know that you're prepared. And a lot of times when you're on the phone, you can pick up some of these clues just on the phone, and then you can hone in when you're in person with them. I've had throughout my career, my real estate career, I've had agents and classes that I've taught. That agents ask me, what kind of listing presentation do I use when I do a listing presentation? And I'm not a listing presentation guy. I've never found it to be effective for me. To me, it was, I'm presenting to somebody that may not want to be presented that way. So here you work up a presentation and you end up not even using. So I normally just have basic facts about the house, my comparables, and that kind of stuff. And because I don't want to give them more information than they want. I want to hear them out. I want to hear how they want to be sold. I want to hear what's important to them. And then I direct my presentation to how they tell me to do that. Several months ago, my son went to one of those home shows, and he needs new windows in his house. And he started talking to this guy about putting new windows in his house, and they set up an appointment. And my son, asked me to come sit with him, do this presentation. I I learned quickly that some of these companies don't, I guess they get sales from it, but it was a 3-hour presentation. Yeah, it was 3 hours. It was an hour for him to go measure all the windows, then come back and calculate what they would cost, and then we had to go through this whole dog and pony show of how good their windows are, how they're better than the competition, and just all these different things. And ended up, the windows were like $40,000, right? And we're like, yeah, no, we're not spending $40,000 on your windows. And I just thought, the guy could have just really given us some, he didn't know who he was talking to. We were like ready for him to go in 30 minutes of being there. We're like, how much longer is this guy going to be here? And it's just a good example of if you're that presentation might work on some people, but it didn't work on us. It turned us off completely. We're like, okay, this is a complete waste of time. I'm not buying. I don't care if you're given to, if we would have given them free, we may have taken them. But, it's almost like, it was just kind of like, you're really wasting my time. I don't need all this. Just, I believe you. You have really good windows. I believe you.
Just need the basic information.
Yeah,
and then
basic information, how much it costs, and let me evaluate, whether it's a good deal or not,
Exactly.
All right, so let's get back to the presentation. All right, well that was the last slide. So but these are just the things that you need to make sure that you're ready for. You're going to, when it says speak rapidly, understand you're not speaking faster than that person. You're matching their cadence. You're matching their speed. You're getting into, and this is more into the mirroring side, but it's all part of this, right? The mirroring is all part of that. That you're going to match their cadence, their tonality. If they speak at a high pitch, you're going to raise your octave a little bit. If they're a low pitch, you're going to drop it. If they're speaking quickly, you're gonna match that speed. You're gonna match how they're sitting. If they're sitting arms crossed and leaning towards you, you're gonna do the same. If they're sitting back in their chair, you're gonna do the same thing. These are just things that you're gonna start mirroring them and doing those kind of things. Let's see. Let's get back so I can see you guys. So like I said, the driver to me is one of those people that they may be aggressive, wanting to take control, but they're the people that will tell you the truth, and they're upfront with what they want, and you just got to match what they're asking for. A lot of for sale by owners are drivers. They just feel like, what do I need an agent for? But if you can show them, listen, this is your results. This is the things that I can do that can enhance your results. I know you can do it, but I'm gonna make your life easier by me doing it for you. Is a good way to approach that.
Absolutely. I also just dropped in the chat if anyone in this group has worked with a driver type client before, and what that experience was kind of like for you, as you navigated from getting the listing or working with this person from the time that the listing was posted all the way until closing. What sort of lessons or practices were you able to gain from that? And so I'm just curious. So if anyone wants to unmute or drop anything in the chat, or just say, no, I've never worked with somebody that is like that. And if you haven't, why haven't you? I'd like to get some discussion going, just to see where everyone has been at before.
It's quiet.
I know this one, it's a little quiet, but it's all right. It's all good. If no one has any questions, I guess we will continue onwards. Because I do have a few more questions, and so
Sure, absolutely.
I will get to my next one. So Tony, a question for you is, how do you continuously learn and adapt your approach to connect with different personality types? This could include the driver. This could be with any type of personality type. Are you more of a trial and error guy? How do you sort of navigate those first impression meetings with your clients, as you kind of start to learn who they are?
Well, it's been a process.
Mhm.
I've done direct sales for. I'm not even going to tell you. I'm not going to tell you my age, right? I'm not going to give that up. But it's been a long time, and it's something that you constantly have to sharpen the axe. Sharpen the saw, because you forget. You get busy. You're in a hurry, and sometimes you just kind of forget, and you go in there and you go with both guns blazing, and tell them how great you are, and how many houses you've sold, and why they should use you, and you forget, oh, wait a minute, it's not about me, it's about them. um, I constantly read. The person who introduced the psychology of behavior styles has been a mentor of mine for many years, Bob Flynn, and he wrote a book. Um, he he he's given me a lot of this material, because I called him and said, "Hey, I want to do this presentation. Can you give me? Do you have some material that you can give me?" Of course, he flooded me with material, because he teaches this, and he's does a lot of corporate quality control and training for corporate companies. But he wrote a book in the last, I think it's been a year since he wrote this book. But the book here, I'll pull it up for you. The book is it's his personality, and he's from Virginia. And so he wrote this book called "Ain't No Such Thing as a Pretty Good Alligator Wrestler," and it's mastering the 12 absolutes essential for success in the swamp of today's changing, unpredictable landscape. Um, so I'm constantly referring to the book, and this is what it looks like. You can see. So if anybody is interested in getting a copy of the book, it's a little difficult to read in the beginning, because it's a story of this guy that's in sales, that's kind of hit the wall and is struggling and doesn't know where to go, and he he starts to go into these classes to learn these 12 absolutes. And the 12 absolutes, it goes in more depth, but the personality traits is in the book. And I had it earmarked going to it. You can see I had an earmark right to the driver. I don't know if you can see it. Right to the driver. So
It's getting a little, it's blurring out a little bit, but
is it? Let's see. You can get it close. No, but anyway.
no, it's a little bit too blurry.
Anyway, it's something that I'm constantly. I mean, it's just something that you keep working on, and keep yourself attuned to it, because as time goes on, we forget some of these things we've learned, and then all of a sudden, I started reading his book a year ago, and he sent it to me autographed. And so I started reading it a year ago, and I started remembering, oh my gosh, I know this stuff. I'm not using it. I've kind of gone away from it. So I kind of started to get back in the practice of it and seeing how you can use it. And this isn't just practical stuff that you can use in sales. It's how to deal with your family. It's how to deal with people you're buying stuff from. Or if you have a team or you're managing people, it's great to know the different personalities and how they kind of see the world. I do have one more slide. Let me pull that up for you here real quick. Bear with me 1 second. So this slide is pretty it's kind of cool, because it tells you how this person sees the rest of us. So this is how the driver sees himself. Good people to do business with, but comes on too strong. The amiable, unrealistic in expectations, not serious enough about business, too people oriented, too sensitive. Precise and efficient, but too slow, indecisive, too detail oriented, and the expressive, too flighty. And the expressive is probably 85% of salespeople out there. Too flighty, not serious about business, not task oriented, too concerned about people, and too concerned about themselves. So I'll let you guys stare at that for a second.
That is super interesting.
Yeah. So
because it's like the way that you view everyone else is completely opposite for how they view you, just depending on their personality type.
Well, even when they view people that are like themselves, it's too competitive. They're like, oh, well, you come on too strong. So it's just it's good to know that, so that you're not basically not stepping on that person's toes, or you're not hurting their feelings. If you're talking to the amiable, they're all about touchy-feely, making friendships and relationships. And yeah, those are great people, but they are slow to make decisions. They don't want to make anybody mad. They don't want to take business away from anybody else. And so they're more about, so they're a little tougher because they go by feelings. I mean, just think about people, you've shown houses to. They give you clues. They go, oh, I don't know. Yeah, this house has everything we want, but just doesn't feel right. That tells you right there, they're going by their feelings. They're more of a kinesthetic personality, where it's all about it's gotta feel right. And I've seen that, where I take people into a house. It may be in a foreclosure or an abandoned house, and it's dirty, but it has the bones. It has everything that person needs. It checks off all the boxes. It just needs to be cleaned and painted.
Yeah.
And they'll completely get turned off and say, "Oh no, where are you taking? What are you showing me? Why are we here? This place is gross." Yes, it is. It's gross and dirty, but see beyond that. And those people have a hard time where the driver might say, oh, yeah, this is an opportunity for me to negotiate hard and win this deal, you
Mhm.
know? So,
Absolutely. We do have a question in the chat. Please let me know if I'm saying your name correctly. Is it Lalena? Wants to know, how would you go about getting a buyer rep signed by a driver?
okay, that's a good question. I don't know. Uh, um, I would state the facts, and to me, I think if you were just you got to be very confident and say,
Mhm.
listen, in order for us to be bound to each other, this is a commitment, that this is a way for me to show you that I'm giving you my total commitment to be your agent for 3 months, and all I'm asking in return is that you give me the same commitment back. You you as a businessman should respect that. I'm not going to waste your time, and I don't want you to waste mine. And being directive and strong um, should should be able to appeal to that person. You
Mhm.
know, um, I have a different perspective on a buyer broker agency agreement. I only ask for that if I don't think the person I'm dealing with is serious, and I throw those out there to make them to further qualify them. Are you serious, or are you just wasting my time? Are you a tire kicker? I do it. I have, you get investors that are out of town investors that want you to go bird dog for them. I make them sign them. But or I don't work with them. But a lot of times I try to build up my rapport first, and then if I feel that we've built rapport, that I can trust them and they trust me, then I kind of don't have them sign that. But that's just my personal preference.
Awesome. I'm not sure why you're not able to take yourself off of mute.
Hold on,
Um,
let's see if I can do it. No, you might have to do it.
Yeah, no, I'm trying to see if I can unmute, but it's not allowing me to do that. But I appreciate your question. Does anyone else have any questions before? I know we're getting towards the end of our time, and so I want to be respectful of everyone's schedule and agenda. And so, if anyone else has any last minute questions, feel free to unmute or drop it into the chat really quick. All right, I guess not. And so, what I do want to say is that we will be having, we're going to be going through all of the different profiles in the coming months. And so, first and foremost, I want to say thank you to Tony for taking the time out of his busy schedule to be here with us in rooms and prep such an amazing presentation for us on the driver. I feel like I'm going to go out and start negotiating. With the driver now too. I'm gonna start seeking these people out because I know exactly how to deal with them now. And so, thank you, Tony, for your time, and then thank you to everyone else for your time as well. I know you guys all have busy schedules on a day-to-day basis, and so we really do appreciate you joining us in rooms. We host rooms every single week, and so if I don't see you at the next one, I know I'll see you back here at some point. But if anyone has any last minute questions, feel free to drop it in the chat. Otherwise, I hope everyone has a fantastic rest of their Tuesday.
Well, thank you very much for letting me do this, and thank you guys for showing up and listening to the presentation. I've done this in sales. I've done sales for a long time, and this has really helped me get over the hump and really make a difference and influencing more people throughout my career. And just keep this in mind that at first you might see these people and not like them, like you said in the beginning, because of their traits, but understand that some of this is their protective measures, right? They act this way because it's how they protect themselves from being vulnerable, and being taken advantage of. So they put on that persona to just basically to protect themselves. So if you can break that down to where they'll listen to you, and respect you and trust you, then you'll have a friend and a client forever.
Gonna said it better myself. All
So
right.
thank you guys, and I look forward to seeing you next month. And I'm sure you'll see it out there. Look for it, and um, we'll talk about the expressive next time. Next time we'll talk about expressive, which is something most salespeople can relate to, because I think 85% of salespeople are expressive. So until then, have a great and get out there and sell some homes.